Good afternoon. Wait lang ha. Good afternoon. Wait lang saglit. Sorry. Okay, so sinong nandito? Lee and Efren. Last time we had Jania with us. No? So, ayan. So, ang hindi ko pa nakita si Julian, Paulino, and Patricia. Anyway. Kayo ba ay lunch na? Kapag lunch na ba kayo? Hindi pa. Ba't hindi ka nag-lunch ng 11 earlier? Ah. Ay, okay, no problem. Di, well, habang ano ka dyan, habang nakikinig, pwede ka namang ano ng ano dyan, konti. Okay, so tuloy lang natin yung ating kwentuhan, no? I sent some materials. Some of them had already been given during your ethics class. So, sort of a review na lang on your part siguro. Then, um, I'd like to, to discuss yung because specifically ang ano natin dito ang topic of discussion is about the dualism in ancient Greek philosophy. So we are going to talk about Plato again, and then a little about Aristotle, and then yung pre-Socratic philosophers, sina Parmenides and Heraclitus. Yung if you still remember, no, we had a discussion before about uh, pre-Socratic philosophers, and then we singled out Thales as the first among the pre-Socratic philosophers. And then we also look at philosophy as shall we say the mother of all sciences, in a sense that the philosophers at that time were at the same time they were mathematicians, they were the biologists. um, hindi they do not look at philosophy as a specialized field, but rather parang holistic na endeavor, that as an individual you should be well versed about so many aspects, no, hindi lang focus sa iisa na specialization, but kundi you, as much as possible, you could be good at anything but at least an expert of one. But in the case of the Presocratics, they were biologists, scientists, mathematician, philosopher, and even astronomy. It was part of their interest. So at an age where there is an absence of a holistic or an absence of a systematic body of knowledge, we have the philosophers who provide us their own speculations and theories about the universe. So there is an absence of encyclopedia, walang Google search wherein you can easily type the things that you wanted to know. Um, we only have this the minds of certain individuals who transmit their knowledge through oral communication. No? As a matter of fact, like Socrates as an example, who had never written anything, but all of the teachings of Socrates were given through oral communication. Yan. So, yan, kumbaga, we have a common ancestor, no? Different fields of sciences, no? Psychology, biology, so on and so forth. We trace a common origin from the philosophers. Yan, so, uh, to be able to understand Plato, there is a need for us to go back to the Presocratics also, particularly Parmenides and Heraclitus. So as we know, Parmenides was the philosopher who introduced the notion of permanence in the universe. And as well, uh, provide a philosophical meaning on the term being. So being, which is originally from the verb to be, no? So being signifies permanence, no? Anything that exists in the world is called being. So the being of this uh, table, this chair, or even human beings, no? Any existing reality can be called as being, with small b. And also, the when we talk about the totality of existence, meaning everything that existed in the universe is part of the generalization called being with capital B. So being, the notion of being by Parmenides. On the other hand, we have the notion of becoming by Heraclitus, which also signifies change. Yan, so on one hand, we have Heraclitus who said that you can never step twice on the same river, if you still remember. So you cannot step twice because the second time you step on the river, it's no longer the same river because that exact moment had already uh, passed by due to the flowing water. So the second time that you step is no longer the same water or no longer the same river. So that signifies change. Different philosophy of Parmenides, he said that being is one, referring to the totality of existence. No? And he also said that whatever is, and whatever is not, is not. So he was trying to say that whatever is or what exists as something can never become nothing. So the transition from something to nothing is impossible for Parmenides. So you can what does not exist, what is nothing, can never become something. So it's impossible for nothingness, no, a void of existence, nothingness, then suddenly becomes or disappear as something. So Parmenides rejects the concept of change because there's no such thing. Change is impossible for Parmenides. Kasi what he understands by change is that something that will have a total annihilation of being or a total annihilation of objects. Say for example, this book, uh, to make this book suddenly disappear without a trace is impossible. So, hindi mangyayari. Even if, for example, you're going to burn this book, it will only transform into ashes. And then if this book, if the ashes, for example, uh, you are going to put that into water, dissolve the ashes, it 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 will just discolor the water. No? It has become part of the water, but it does not really disappear. The substance remain in the water. So change as total annihilation is impossible. Di pwedeng mangyari. So one implication of this is that Parmenides was referring to the world as something that is always existing. No? There is no creation because when you talk about creation, it is from nothing into something, and then the end of the universe, the end of the world, is also impossible to think of, no, from something into nothing. So the universe for Parmenides is always there. No? Being is one. So there's no such thing as change. So these two conflicting um, theories of Parmenides and Heraclitus gave birth to the genius of what we call as Plato, the philosopher. It's Plato. No? So, actually, iba yung pangalan ni Plato because he was initially a poet. Poet si Plato eh, but then when he met Socrates, um, nagbago yung kanyang mind frame, no? At a point, kasi itong si Socrates, baga, very, ano ba, very personal pagka, kasi yung technique or method ni Socrates sa kanyang philosophy is introspective. Tinatanong niya yung kanyang mga estudyante pa isa-isa, no? Introspect. To the point that si Plato ay na personal ni Socrates at hindi na niya nagustuhan yung kanyang writings, no? That to the point that he burned his writings, no? His poetry, and changed his name into Plato. So that's how influential was Socrates into the life of Plato. That's why upon the death of Socrates, Socrates immediately became the mouthpiece of Plato. In the works of Plato, ang bida doon si Socrates. To the point that it creates a confusion kung sino ba talagang nagsabi niyan. Was it Plato who wrote it? Or was it already said by Socrates when he was alive and was only written down by Plato? So there is a confusion now as to whose idea is this. So the allegory of the cave is the creative illustration of how Socrates theorized his concept of dualism. How Plato came up with his theory of the dual nature of reality. What is this dualism? Ibig sabihin ng dualism, there is a dual nature of reality, dalawa. So, Plato was talking about the intelligible world, also known as the world of ideas, and also the sensible world, or the world the world of senses. Hanapin natin yung PowerPoint ko dito. And, So, actually, parang review na rin to sa inyo, no? Because I think I also discussed this one in ethics. So, we have a PowerPoint for that. Si Plato, no? Yung pinag-usapan natin dito. Ayan. So, by the way, I'm wondering, bakit kayong tatlo lang? Asan yung the other three? Are they not notified na may klase tayo? Uh, so, this is Plato. So, this is the bust of Plato. So, at their age, at their time, in the ancient period, hindi uso ang wala pa silang Instagram, walang selfie. So that means sculpting ang kanilang method of representation, no? Hindi camera. So yan si Plato, no. So the allegory of the cave, I think it's familiar to you already, wherein he demonstrate the distinction between a sensible world and the intelligible world. No? Basically, what Plato was trying to do is he was trying to tell Parmenides and Heraclitus that you're actually both correct. Heraclitus, you are correct in saying that the nature of reality is change. On the other hand, Parmenides, you're also correct in trying the nature of reality is permanence. But the problem is you are describing two different realities. Heraclitus was describing change in the sensible world, while Parmenides was describing permanence in the world of ideas, the intelligible world. And Plato was able to reconcile Parmenides and Heraclitus into a one theory, in the theory of the divided reality. In epistemology, we learn this as the theory of the divided line, because everything that we can know in the sensible world are merely opinions. We cannot gain truth or certainty in the sensible world, because the sensible reality is in constant change. No, the moment that you see something, you could have been deceived already by what you see. No? It's a world of change, or the world of change can be deceiving. So the typical illustration is that when you when you put a ball pen, for example, in a glass of water, you will see the pencil or ball pen looking as bent, parang nabali, no? Even though it is not, no? So perception in the world of senses can be deceiving. Maaari kang mamali. You cannot gain knowledge but only opinion. So knowledge can only be achieved, or truth and certainty can be achieved only in the intelligible world, where you can find eternal ideas. So that's how it creates uh, this dual nature of reality, which is surprisingly, the dualism of Plato is also dominant in today's world, in today's reality. No, you look at the Christian worldview, you look at the Islamic worldview, it still um, it is actually similar to this dualism that is being introduced by Plato, no? Uh, merong physical na mundo, yung mundo natin, and then meron ding spiritual na mundo, no? Which can be the intelligible reality. In In Greek language, the term for soul is psyche. It is the same with mind. The mind is also psyche. So or soul, the mind and soul is somewhat synonymous in Greek thinking. The mind is also the soul of a human being. No, kasi it's hard to think of the soul na does not have the memory of his body. So dapat kasama 'yon. And it is this at this point that you will see that Aristotle has his, own version of dualism. So in Plato's dualism, world is imperfect. No? The idea of a cat is perfect in the mind, whereas the actual cat in the sensible world is imperfect. No? Yung isa ay mabaho, walang paligo. Yung isa ay walang buntot. Yung isa ay tatlo na lang yung paa. Yung isa wala ng balahibo dahil tinapunan ng mainit na tubig. So, the cat in the sensible world is imperfect, but the cat in the mind as an idea could be perfect. So, man is also consisting of body and soul. However, in Plato's understanding, before the body, the soul already existed in the intelligible world. And then upon death, um, the body will decompose, of course, but the soul will remain in the intelligible world. So manatili ang soul, hindi siya indestructible, hindi namamatay. So this is the point that Aristotle contradicts. So to, of course, Aristotle agreed with Plato's dualism. I agree, no? That there is a dual nature of reality. So ang comparison nila ay ito, no? They are both dualist. Plato and Aristotle are both dualist. So there is the body for a human being. For example, there is the body which consists of matter. And there is also the mind, or if you like, soul, which consists of forms or ideas. So kasali din ng memory. No? So for Aristotle, the only difference is that they are inseparable. The body and soul are inseparable. To demonstrate that, Aristotle came up with his explanation of the four causes. So what are the four causes? First one, there is the efficient cause. So in this example, we have the sculptor, no? Who is the efficient cause of the final product later on. So is the efficient cause. There is also a material cause, the matter in which the final product is being made. In this example, our material cause is a block of granite. The formal cause, referring to form, the formal cause is the idea. The idea or imagination of what he is going to do with this block of granite. But Aristotle argued that you cannot have an idea prior to the actual material cause, because you are only going to create or form an idea after you have seen the actual material. Kung inuuna mo yung isipan mo, it is nonsense when you see the actual thing, hindi pala siya possible. So when you create something, to start with an idea, it is contentless when there is no material to start with. No? And of course, the final cause is the actual product which is to be placed Ito yung purpose kasi niya, the final cause and the purpose. Bakit niya gagawin ito? Because there is a final cause which is to display, no? To display. And so the point of this illustration is to show that form and matter cannot exist without the other, no? They are inseparable. So what is the implication of that is when you talk about human beings, there's no such thing as uh, soul for Aristotle. Yeah. So the comparison between Plato and Aristotle, because si Plato believed on the intelligible world as the true reality. So in the human being, for example, it is the soul or the mind which is higher compared to the body. That's why we can say that Plato is an idealist. Plato is also, um, aside from being an idealist, the philosophy of Plato is something of a contemplative philosophy, because you have to put value on the higher reality, higher dimension, which is the mind or the soul or the spirit. So mas malaki ang value ng spiritual matter compared to the bodily concerns, no? In contrast, Aristotle, as observed in his Ethics of Virtue, the the ethics of human character of Aristotle, no, as presented in the virtue theory, is something that is onward, something that you do to the self, no? It is directed to the self, not outward but inward. So, the influence to that is because of the metaphysical worldview na kanyang pinaniwalaan, which is the true nature of man. It consists of the body and the mind or the soul. So part ang body, unlike Plato, who disregards the body as something temporary. In short, the body is not important because it is only temporary, but it is the soul uh, which is permanent and important. But for Aristotle, who rejects the dualism of Plato in favor of his own version of dualism, having body and soul inseparable, it is understandable why Aristotle came up with a virtue ethics that is directed towards the personality, the character, human character, because kasali yung bodily character mo, no? That's why the the characteristic of a warrior, for example, in Greek, yung mga about the Greek soldiers, they are considered as men of virtue, no? Mga warriors, because they excel, they were able to achieve excellence not only with their mind but also with their bodies. Mga athletes, yung mga athletes during sa ano no, sa Mount Olympus, no, when they held the Olympus, the competition. So that's why it's virtuous to become a winner in the contest. O ganyan ang concept of virtue ni Aristotle. So what is significant in this when we talk about media? Bakit mahalaga itong concept of dualism, specifically yung si Plato, because yung kanyang yung yung kanyang theory of the two worlds, no? Yeah, saying that the other one is only something which is not real. It's only a duplicate. um, it is only um, yan. Yes, it's temporary, but it is only a representation of the real. There is a real world, the intelligible one, but we are given with a picture of reality which is merely or simply a representation. So, doon papasok ang media theory diyan, no? Media as a representation. So, we can speak of social media, for example, the Facebook. You have to recognize and realize that Facebook is merely a medium. In short, it is only a medium of representation. Hindi talaga yun yung totoo, because there's a real world outside of Facebook. So when you participate on a cause, a political cause, for example, post ka ng post din sa Facebook, mga political cause, but all you have done is only to click and click, sort of a clicktivism. Ang tawag din clicktivism, kasi you have an activist mind posted on Facebook, but all you have done is to post that on Facebook. That's clicktivism, but to the actual cause, you have you have not done anything. So there's a difference. You need to recognize that Facebook is merely a medium of representation. Hindi yan yung actual world. And to be able, for example, to made an impact on the actual world, on the actual world, you really have to go out of Facebook. Maybe important yung Facebook, for example, you want to organize something, so you connect to people. You can have Facebook as useful for that, but with regards the actual action, the actual cause, you need to go out of Facebook and go to the real world outside. Yan. So, may significance din itong dualism, no? Especially when we talk about media. And then when we proceed with the succeeding philosophers that we are going to talk in this class, you can observe that yung dualism ni Plato is still prevalent in the philosophy, for example, specifically in the modern period na. Like Kant, for example, Kant came up with yung kanyang the distinction between yung distinction between the nominal world and the phenomenal world. Makita mo doon na it's the same distinction that had been introduced by Plato during the basic common era. Napakatagal na, but it's the same distinction that being followed by Kant, for example. And then also, when we talk about, for example, in the movie The Matrix, no, wherein the movie talks about also the dual nature of reality. No? There's a physical existence of human beings na mayroong naka-attach na computer sa kanilang brain, and then when they go to sleep, they are brought to a dream world, no? Kung saan there's a different reality na doon sila nakikipag away doon sa mga alien, no? Doon sa movie na The Matrix. So there's yung distinction of the two different realities, which one is real, no? And then doon nakita natin si Neo doon sa movie na meron siyang dalawang reality. Merong katawan na nilagyan ng computer, meron ding ang yung kung saan yung matrix, no? So yung it is also when we study Rene Descartes in our succeeding discussion, no, that also came up with this concept of the dream, no? The dream of Rene Descartes, no? whether whether this world is only a dream, no? Kasi itong si Rene Descartes all of a sudden came up with an idea that what if this world that I have is only represented to me as a dream. Very interesting. How would I know? How would I tell? How would I distinguish that I am inside a dream? That I am only inside a dream? How would I know that the reality that is being presented to me is actually only a dream? Or how could I tell if I am being deceived by a computer feeding me images as if they were real when in fact they are only part of an illusion given in my mind as a form of reality? How would you know that, for example, what if I am just part of what if I am just part of an electronic or digital game? How would I know that I am part of it? So yan ang tanong, no, na very interesting, which is related to media. You can talk about um, yung the popular culture today, yung gaming, Mobile Legends, League of Legends, Dota, as a form of media. It's also a form of media. And then, it's a virtual world, no? And as if the virtual world has now become the new real. No? It's become the new real. Do not, especially when you are addicted to these games, ito na yung reality mo. You think about that every day. And so, yung the relevance of the philosophical ideas, philosophical thoughts of Plato and Aristotle is still very much useful when we look at everyday reality, and especially when we are presented with media and information. How people um, relate with social media, for example, and the world of reality. How does media represents the real world? Yan, tingnan mo yan. Meron yung mga theories na titingnan din natin later on. So we shall put the philosophical discussion into a higher level to the point that ang gawin natin itong ating subject na introduction to philosophy, gawin natin tong philosophy of media para the more that you'll be able to appreciate philosophical topics in relation to your field in mass media and communication, para mas maging interesting sa inyo ang philosophical topics. Yeah, so I have prepared a lineup of topics that I will show it to you on on Tuesday, para yun ang natin pag-aralan, no? Do you have some comments or questions in our discussion? So, expect that we will discuss philosophers. Tingnan natin, no, if we're going to talk about Saint Augustine. Pwede rin, no, we will try to natin si Saint Augustine. Pwede ba? And then, pero for sure we will talk about Rene Descartes, no, that's a modern philosopher. Um, he was also known as a mathematician. He introduced the Cartesian plane. And then So, balikan natin si Immanuel Kant that we already discussed in ethics. Uh, ni Immanuel Kant. And then, after that, punta na tayo sa ano, uh, critical theory, yung the Frankfurt School, and then yung French political theory also. Tingnan natin sina Michel Foucault. Ganyan. I have an interesting list of philosophers that we're going to discuss in the class that relates with mass media. For example, si Michel Foucault, yung concept of panopticon, very interesting din yan. How we understand media today, it's like a panopticon, yung the panoptic model, na everything has become visible. No? For example, when you use Facebook, akala mo ikaw lang yung gumagamit niyan, ikaw lang yung nakakita ng mga sarili mong pictures that, like for example, if you want that to disappear, you can just delete it, then you're going to delete it and it's gone in your profile. But somewhere in the yung nasa Facebook mismo, yung mga tauhan ni Mark Zuckerberg, without your knowledge, have already processed all of the information you have uploaded in your social media account. So, na-retrieve na pala nila yon, pinag-aralan na nila as information. So, lahat ay nakita na nila doon, anong ginagawa mo. No? But, without your knowledge, kala mo private ang social media account mo. But, without your knowledge, someone else, somewhere, have already seen all the information you have uploaded in your Facebook account. Lahat ng mga nilagay mo doong videos, video calls, yan, ay without your knowledge, meron palang nakikita nun. So, yun yung as an example of the concept of panopticism. Meaning yung panoptic, ibig sabihin, pan is all or everything. Panoptic, so yung pan is all, yung optic from the optical, no, yung seeing, visibility. So panoptic meaning kita lahat, no, everything is visible. So the world that we are in is somewhat of a panopticism, no. Anywhere you go, there are CCTV cameras, social media, you input your information, kita lahat, no? So isa din yan sa mga theories na tackle natin. We will explore these philosophical topics later on in the class. Ayan. For now, we will end here. But may I request you something? Can you turn on your camera for a while? Then I will just take a screenshot because we are required to submit this as our attendance also, if you don't mind. Anyway, ang ating mga fellow teachers lang din naman ang makakakita ng screenshot ninyo. It will not be posted in Facebook. Don't worry. Okay. Ay, wait. Isa pa. Okay na? Okay na? Do you have concerns? Line natin, tapos yung kung kailan yung schedule din natin para yun yung asynchronous na reading sa Tuesday next week. Okay? So, God bless you. Thank you for your time. Inanang Lance, Efren, ikaw din, Jania, Lee. Thank you for your time. Thank you. Ingat. Ikaw din, Lee, ingat ka. Okay. Welcome, Lee. Be back in a short while. Synchronous class. PS2A. Sing. COVID. COVID. Uh, Diyan na pala. Sorry. Good afternoon, everyone. Afternoon. Kapasok na pala kayo, no? Aantay pa ako. Um, okay, so while waiting for the others, let's have the attendance now. Tawagin ko na, no? Nicole Bernadette, Hans Emmanuel, Bernie, Alexandra Grace, present. Elizabeth, Maureen Ann Joy, present si Maureen Ann Joy. Nadine Christine. Nadine, Joaquim Armin, Ira Nicole, Jo Marie, Gian Maverick, Gian, Julian Joy, Stephanie Louise, Darwin Von, Harkel Jem, sino yung isa? Marinel Allison, Carla Angela, Kim Charnain, Ira Lay, Jasmine, John Kenneth, Leila Jenka, Shalom, John Carlo, Nina Marie, Arali Charis, Marla Clarice, Denzel Marlui, and Noeline, present. Nicole Bernadette, Hans Emmanuel, Bernie, Bernie, Elizabeth, Nadine Christine, Jo Marie, Gian Maverick, Julian Joy, Darwin Von, Julian Joy ba yun? Darwin, Nina Marie. Mamaya, tawagin natin ulit yan. Hindi pa nakapasok. Hey guys, good afternoon once again. Last Tuesday, I sent something in our Google Classroom, and then part of it is the yung mga suggested readings na gusto kong tingnan ninyo. And then naka-enumerate na din yung mga topics no na gusto kong tingnan natin. So all you need to do is simply to select you're going to select a topic, then first of all you have to form a group, no, or find a partner for the reporting. Like maybe it's okay kung dalawa lang, no, two persons. Actually kung mag-isa ka lang na gusto mong ikaw lang solohin mo, it's okay with me, no. Then we will say, no, maybe a minimum of 3 persons, no, per group, no. Kung talagang may sobra, um, tingnan muna natin, no, 3 members in a group para mag-ano yung mga topics, no. So kung 3 members, so there are like so para magkasya yung topics natin, so there are on the list kahit 8 lang, no, kahit up to number 8 lang ang i-report natin, does not matter. Up to number 8, tapos you inform me when you are able to organize yourselves with your group members. Kayo na ang bahala sa pag-pick ng kasama ninyo sa reporting. And then when you are settled with a topic, i-post nyo lang dito sa Google Classroom. Kayo ba ay makakapag-post dito or sa comment lang kayo allowed? So, or kahit sa comment, i-notify nyo ako. Meron ding dito yung parang tag, i-tag nyo ako. May email, tag my email para makita ko yung listing, no. You only have to write the topic that you are interested to work with or to report, and then yung group members, and then after that you discuss among yourselves what are the interesting points that you are going to emphasize in your discussion, and then you prepare a PowerPoint presentation for the class to be presented in dito, parang parang webinar type na discussion. The group members should be able to each member of the group should be able to report or present something. Hatiin nyo yung mga areas kung paano nyo i-divide as members. So I will have two synchronous meetings na ako ang mag-preside muna, ako muna ang magdi-discuss. And then after the second week, we will start now with your presentation. So preferably yung following yung listing dito sa suggested topics. So, we'll start with ito, number 1. Yung listing dito, sino yung nauna, ito yung susundin natin para hindi tayo malito. Hindi yan yung suggested, yung sa sunod yan, yung tingnan mo pa sa baba. Yung we'll start with halimbawa K-pop, tapos yung TV, yan. Pa, oo. On my list, merong 27 eh. So how do we ano yung 27? So mathematics dito. Yung yun nga, ang ano muna, ideally, tatlo. Pero merong siguro isang grupo na kasi may hindi may mga may isang grupo lang na allow natin na 4 kasi sumobra na yung ano yung topic eh. Depende sa choices ng group members. Kasi halimbawa, tingnan natin yung lista. We will adjust later kung iilan yung um, magiging members. So, pinaka-maximum na yung 3 for now. Kasi para ma-accommodate yung lahat ng topics na nakalista doon na at least 8 no on the list. There are ano there are at least 8 on the list para ma-accommodate yung up to number 8. I wish tatlo lang yung members para at least pagka masyadong marami din ang members, magiging uneven yung pagka share nung sa topics eh. So at least may halimbawa yung iba parang na lang konti na lang yung i-present nila kasi na discuss na nung other members. So ideally sana tatlo lang para ma-accommodate yung ibang topics, yung lahat ng the 8 on the list. Tapos when we start the reporting, we'll see, we'll try to accommodate if possible, two groups per meeting para mabilis ang ating discussion. Then for the next 2 weeks, I will present to you yung mga theoretical frameworks para you will have a guide in your presentation. Then you will have para mayroon kayong theoretical na basis ba in coming up with your report, no? Anything else? We will figure it out, no, kung paano niyo in the reporting. I will be there. I will guide you naman on what to to discuss ano yung pasukin natin na mga perspective in the reporting. Pero as much as possible, you provide us with what are the trends, the popular personalities, and yan. Tapos, ano yung mga story behind this um, trending topics. Ah, uh, hindi kasi ano maulit lang din yung discussion natin, paulit-ulit lang yung ano natin. Kasi kaya inano natin as much as possible uh, yung mga different areas na ano natin. So I don't think so na maulit. Dapat tig-isa kayo ng topic bawat group. So I will tingnan natin sinong mauna no doon sa pag notify sa akin, and then I will communicate to you na may nauna doon sa topic na yan. So you have to you tell me kung ano yung you tell me also, indicate siguro niyo doon sa post nyo yung second na preference na topic para in case maunahan kayo, then I will automatically choose yung second option sa pagpili. O dito sa sa stream nitong Google Classroom. Yan nyo lang ilagay. Oh, para ito. Yes, mamaya after the class, we will do the screenshot. Optional na lang 'yon. Optional kasi I'm ano naman din na yung ano ninyo yung attendance na. Pero for support, mas maigi kung mag-send din kayo sa email to make sure na mag-credit ang yung attendance. Although I have in record already, pero optional no, you send an email na rin to make sure na hindi kayo ma-absent. At meron din akong ano parang reminder sa akin to check if kung oh, mm, kung kasi pagka random tayo, ibig niyong sabihin ako yung magpipili. Oh. Pero I would prefer kasi na halimbawa for example from legal management no. I'm sure meron tingin tayo wala ka bang ibang dito sama na leg mo? Apo say. Oh, so you tap your yung mga na dati niyo ng classmates ganyan. Para ang point ko dito para comfortable kayo to work with uh, sa presentation, and also regarding the communication para when you communicate each other upon the preparation at pagka comfortable ka doon sa groupmate mo. Pero maging ganun din mangyari later on, tignan natin kaya ang ko lang muna, at least you communicate with each other first and you come up with your own group. Meron na kayong samahan na grupo. Kung wala naman, Then akong bahala niyan in ano, I will organize it. Kung sino yung walang group members, then I will do the ano, suggestion na grupo. O para ano muna, at least yung kumbaga kung meron kayong gusto diyan sa lista, pwede mo nang i-ano diyan, unahan muna. Kahit ikaw lang mag-isa tapos hanapan natin ng kasama later on. Kung ang point ko lang dito for doing this, para if ever nakita mo na yung line up, tapos gusto ko dito ako mag-represent sa topic na ito, social media for example. O so, ano mo na, piliin mo na yan. Kahit wala ka pang kasama din, hanapan na lang natin later on ng sinong ilagay natin under your group, no? Pwede mong maging group member for now. Tapos identify ko kung sino yung mga walang group para mabigyan natin sila ng... But don't worry, kasi ang mangyayari niyan actually, uh, kung sakali mang wala kayong topic, no, we will arrange that na may dagdagan natin. Actually, marami pang areas in popular culture na pwede nating isama diyan. And then based on ano natin within this 2 weeks, tapos baka may maisip kayo additional topics na gusto niyo i-suggest. Sabihin lang, tingnan ko, tapos ano natin, tingnan natin yan. That would be interesting. Dami namang kahit saan mo makita, marami namang popular culture. Kahit sa different sectors of society, no? Ano bang trend ngayon? Gusto mo vaccines? Oh, patok na patok yung mga vaccines ngayon, no? So, pwede rin natin yung look at it in the perspective of popular culture, no? Are they safe? No, is it smart for a country to invest in vaccines? How much money they spend for that, and is it safe? Ganyan. Tingnan natin yung mga discourses lang naman kasi on popular culture, and the purpose of this um, uh, Gen Ed course is really to make you socially aware of your surroundings, particularly on current events, and to identify what is popular culture in different forms and different sectors of society. Depende yan, tingnan natin sa lista kasi ang ano kasi popular culture, it could be it could appear to you in different ways. You might not notice that this is popular culture already, no? Ganyan eh. But as we have it in our in our culture. It's popular culture. Gusto mong halimbawa, you want to discuss about the phenomenon of having yung in the political realm, no, yung having the distinction between Dilawan and the DDS. Gusto mong i-tackle yan as popular culture. It could be, no, because in social media for example, you can find memes and other different kind of expressions. It's a popular trending topic in social media, ganyan. So it's one area wherein we recognize popular culture. And so tentative naman yung listing natin, depende on how we organize it, no? Kaya ano muna, listing muna din, I'll be the one to arrange. Tapos maging ganyan yung mangyayari niya later on, kung merong wala sa lista ganyan, I will be the one to choose yan, assign topic. So, magiging random din ang dating yan. Kung hindi ka, at least ba, bago man ako maggumawa ng random, you are given the chance also to make your own option based on your own preference and interest sa topic. Okay na? So, I think may mga naglista na dito. Nagpauna na sila, no? So they manifest already their intention to report, no? K-pop mo yun. So it's sila nauna pero they don't worry kung sila mauna niyan because that's the first on the list. But it shows that they're interested on the topic on K-pop. Ganyan. So maybe they are K-pop stars. Ganyan. So just to, kasi para pag ako kasi yung pumili, baka hindi nyo feel ang topic na yon. Mas maganda yung feel mo yung topic kasi gusto mo i-discuss ito. Ganun lang ang reason bakit pinapapili ko kayo. O yan, so balikan natin yung lista. Sige, ano natin, no? So ang nakuha na yung K-pop and then yung music scene also, no? They're interested with Philippine music scene. Sa mismong post ko. Yan. Nakita ko naman, no? O, yan. O, so, yan, dalawa lang. Open pa yan. Pwede pa magdagdagan ng isa natin. O, indicate kung ano yung topic number 5 na baritin. Oo. Ganyan, so iba't ibang area, no? Guys, so ang ginawa natin, hinati natin into different categories. Pero, ano naman yan hindi naman yan exclusive sa diyan lang na area, no? Most areas ay parang inclusive na into our everyday reality. So, saan na nakaabot, no? It's hard to create categories really. So, for example, to let you know, K-pop, actually, part din yan itong number 2 na TV, cinema, reality shows, yan. Meron din K-pop yan. And then, when you talk about K-pop in the Philippines, you will also talk about Filipino films na may inclination to Korean, no, di ba? Like for example, may mga Korean dito sa Pilipinas, di ba? Ang dami nila diyan. No? Sina Ryan Bang, sino yung ibang yung babae pa no na sikat sa Korea, no? Si 21. Yun, I'm sure you have this when you report this these personalities, no? Si Heart Evangelista, for example, merong ongoing ngayon na telenovela, no? May mga co-stars na Korean, no? Nagsalita talaga ng Korean on a Filipino teleserye. So, as if we are almost being invaded by Korean culture, no? Malapit na, no? Korean music, Korean telenovela, no? May mga sayaw na Korean. Dami yan So, TV, pagka kasi gumawa tayo ng categories, but upon the discussion nito, papasok rin yung ibang area. Social media, halos parehas na rin yan Yung lumalabas sa social media, minsan nakikita rin natin sa TV. So, music, no? Sino-sino yung mga sikat na musicians. Sometimes nakikita din natin sa television, sa cinema. Sports personalities, makikita din natin sa music. So, depende na sa ano natin. At least pero may mga guide kahit may mga readings ako na mga sample issues na makikita nyo diyan. Doon tayo mag anong problema doon sa mga ito na to. Mga example na issues. Yung iba hindi current event no nangyari in the past pero parang parang looking back no that something we can learn for the future nangyari no like for example yung but I'm sure no at your age now you have not you might not able to remember this one no? Itong old Wawawi incident no? The stampede in Ultra no? Ilang taon kayo na nangyari niyan hindi niyo alam yan no? Pero the gaming show of Kuya Will ay is still ngayon nandiyan pa rin ngayon and how the uh, Filipinos are following Kuya Will gaano yan ka sikat si Kuya Will yan mga tingnan nyo lang areas. Yeah, I hope na nasilip nyo na yung ibang dito issues para mabilis na pagpili. Kaya na no, so may mga na ng intention na ito yung nila. Pero yun nga as of now, I would say na hindi pa to final kasi yun nga pending pa yung ibang members. Oo. Then I will also nag-comment kayo dito, then I will also I will find additional readings wherein you can use as reference no? Based on na pinili ninyo na topic. Okay? Anything else? Oh. Yun nga, yun ay anong per may nagkaparehas na wala namang nag-post wala namang nakita ng sports ito. Na-delete na. Na-delete na daw. Okay. Delete na. Oo, yan yung kumbaga guide lang yan hamba ito sports no. Tapos meron akong mga nilagay na mga suggested na topic no. Pero lang ito, pwedeng yan na rin ang tumbukin niyo yung mga issues na yan no. Pero I'm sure you can find other similar issues na might be more interesting than the one I have chosen. Kayo nang be creative na to add something in the discussion to find other interesting issues and readings no regarding to this dito sa sports no. Tingnan mo yung mga sports personalities how successful they had become no. Yeah, for example mga sportsman pero ang dami din sa mga former let us say basketball player no, former PBA players nasa ngayon di natin alam na sila yung mga pinapanood natin sa television sa showbiz for example dami diyan mga basketball player no um, from Benji Paras, pati pa yung dati pa, no, yung mga comedians, no. Uh, I could not name, no, all of them, no. Pero marami yan mga comedians, no, na galing sa PBA, no. Tapos yan, ano lang yan, make us ano lang, i i-manifest lang na ito sila, oh, na mga PBA players yan, hindi natin alam pero pinapanood natin. Jimmy Santos, yung mga sidekick ni ni Boss Vic, no? Mga PBA players yan eh. At marami pa yung mga comedian sa Philippine cinema. So in other words, discuss lang natin ano yung mga ano nila, stepping stone, no? How they become successful, no? Yan, may mga Letran alumni pa nga dyan. Itong si, do you know, uh, Webb, no? The former Senator Webb, no? Is a basketball varsity of Letran na naging PBA tapos nasa showbiz, no? Acting. Oh, so, yan lang. Ano lang natin, we'll try to, ano ba, what is the, ano ang meron sa pagiging isang sportsman, no? Na what's the potential, no, na sisikat ka pala pag dito ka, no? How the Filipino people would be able to recognize different sportsmen. Paano sila nagkaroon ng break in the Philippine society na nakilala sila, ganyan. Tingnan natin. And then maybe you would also, if you like, you can try to predict now who would be the future popular sportsmen, no? Based on what you can see in UAP, NCAA, and yan. So, ano niya, what is the role of NCAA and UAAP in Philippine education? Anong part nila? What role do they, in the school, no? What role do they have? Athletes, yun yan. So what is the nature of the NCAA? Ano ba yan? No? Is it what kind of institution is that? Yan ang i-explore ninyo, no? We are using the frames, no? Kasi yung later on itingnan natin yung mga frames, no? Economic perspective, no? Kumikita ba yung UAAP? How much? No? And at what expense do they earn money? Um, how much they pay for the television? What is the latest update? No? Nasaan na ngayon ang NCAA? No? Nang wala na ngayon ang ABS-CBN, no? Sana sila, no? Ganyan, no? Unfortunately, walang specific na frame, no? I don't want to direct you kung ito lang ang it's up to you, no? You have your own creativity to include topics that might be interesting to you. Kayo kayo na ang bahala as a group to select anong gusto niyo isama sa discussion, no? Like maiksi lang naman report, no? I think maybe 20 minutes for one group. Ganun lang, mabilisan lang na presentation. 20 minutes tapos 10 minutes na follow-up discussion, and then we'll have another group. Maybe hopefully kaya natin 2 weeks in 2 groups in one meeting. In a 1-hour meeting. So yung iba niyan on the finals na magre-report, no, pero yun nga yung sa reporting para hindi unfair, doon ko na itali sa finals lahat sabay. I will record your presentation, ganyan. Pero ang doon na sa final final grade magre-reflect yung reporting ninyo. Pero it will be graded yung presentation, syempre. Kasi nag-prepare kayo niyan. Yung random, gagawin ko yan yung based na on the existing na ano, yung mayroon ng choices ngayon, no? Sinong wala dito, I will arrange this later, i-post ko na lang yung line up na on Tuesday. Okay, so ayun na ano natin, iwanan na lang natin muna yan, then arrange na lang natin on Wednesday. So, yan, we have 20 minutes na lang left for our class. So, I will kwento ko na lang yung mga for anyway, I still have one meeting on next week. Next Thursday, I will present something, and then kayo na din after the on the third week after this one, on the second week. May yan mo ako ng timeline para remember natin sino magre-report on this day, on this meeting. May I know if so psychology and then mga cold side din. I'm sure most of you have taken siguro at least ethics subject na that will make you familiar with philosophical discussions. May kilala ba kayong mga philosopher yan? Because yun ang natin, sila yung mga frameworks na gagamitin na the most dominant na perspective na gagamitin natin, yun nga, as I think I have already mentioned, Marxist na point of view, as a critic to capitalism, particularly global capitalism. We can say, for example, think about Western culture, how Western culture had an impact to our Filipino culture or even to Korean culture. I'm sure may connection yan eh. And then in that way, then natin may pasok yung discussions on Marxism, yan. Yun nga, mas maganda kung meron kayong familiarity with philosophical topics and philosophers, no? For instance, Marxism, it's good if you are familiar with Marxist theory, no? So in a philosophical sense, no, that you are aware that there's a theory existing like this one. It does not have to be that you should become a Marxist yourself. Hindi naman kailangan, no, that you will become a Marxist, but at least you must be aware of this theories. Marxism is a very kumbaga parang pervasive na theory ba, because we can discuss economics in Marxism, we can discuss politics, capitalism, no? And culture. Yan. So, yan, mas mabilis yung usapin kasi when you are aware with this political or sociological theories. Tingnan natin in the perspective of capitalism and consumerism. Yan, kasi pag pagka sinabi mong popular culture, I'm sure may kaakibat na ganyang usapin eh. When money and profit is involved, bakit ganyan? No? Oh, and also, it would be more interesting if you look at also in the perspective of mass media and communication. Because you will be talking about um, consumerism and advertisements that you can find in social media, in the television. The more theoretical lenses you will have, mga critical models ba, then you will be able to have more in your discussion. No, mas marami kang theoretical frames na gagamitin. No? You look at the media, for example, as a as a no, for example, look at the media, looking at that as a conglomerate, no. So pwede mo na gamitin yun in a, ano as lens, no, consumerist perspective, no? Who owns and who earns in these popular television shows. Ganyan. No, so I was supposed to discuss something today pero we ran out of naman time due to the yung pag-arrange ng topics. So mali pala, dapat I had should have posted notification earlier para na kayo, pili na kayo ng dyan. Dapat pinapili ko na kayo ng Pero anyway, we still have another week, no. I will give a discussion next week, and then the week after pwede nang magsimula si yung first group, no, na K-pop, no. Then we'll hear it. So along the way lang in our discussion natin, papasok yung mga iba't ibang opinion natin, no, on the different phenomenon of popular culture. Okay ba? May ba uh, hindi. Ako muna, may konting discussion ako and presentation on tingnan natin, no, we can, kasi by the way, I have also sent some readings. Yan, so I'll talk something about yung phenomenon of malls, no. Looking at malls as a technology, as an economic technology. Yan, tapos yan, usapan natin yan yung the malls, the technology, and then even mining. And then I will present yung the book na the title is 24/7, Late Capitalism and the Ends of Sleep by Jonathan Carey. Discuss natin yan. Di ba, there are so many things had happened to our workers, to our laborers, no, in a capitalist point of view, no, that even yung sleep is being invaded by cultural capitalism and consumerism. So yan ang i-present ko next meeting. The ends of sleep, in other words, kahit yung pinaka-private moment ng buhay natin, yung pagtulog natin, ay pinasok na ng consumerism. It's a very interesting book. Pwede nyo, ay kaso wala. I will provide a copy of the book itself. You don't have to read the book now, pero I'll provide a copy na pwede nyong basahin. Balikan ninyo some other time. It's a very interesting book. Ang dami nang ninakaw sa atin ng colonialism, no? Our resources, our territory, yan. Even our culture. Nawala na yung cultural identity natin, no? So, yan, tingnan natin. But, this book argues that even our pagtulog natin is already taken by cultural capitalism. Wala nang tulugan, in other words, no? And it manifests in different forms in our culture. Yun lang, isang presentation ang ano ko, i-facilitate ko. Ito si The Ends of Sleep. Kasi popular culture din kasi yan, no? Together with, ano ba, yung the phenomenon of cafes, mall centers na ang mga workers ay doon na matutulog mismo sa wall. Meron silang ano doon. Meron silang sariling area kung saan pwedeng matulog ang mga call center agents. Then they're surrounded with cafes. Then they drink a lot of caffeine. Ayan. In other words, pati yung the most private and psychological need of a human being, which is to sleep, ay kinuha na nung ating popular culture. Dapat natulog kayo ngayon pero you are online, no? Dahil kinuha yung private space ninyo, sleep. Very interesting reading. I will email to you a copy of this, no? Maybe on Tuesday. Itong written by a Marxist cultural critic, no? Jonathan Carey. The title of the book is 24/7. Yeah, then a little discussion on Rolando Tolentino's na mall, no? Phenomenon of malls, no? Mall as kulturang popular. So, how does mall affects the lives of Filipino people? Saan tayo pumupunta pag may kailangan tayo? Automatic sa mall. And so, very interesting. There are readings, no, that I've sent to you. Then, try to browse on them. You don't have to read all, pero try to look at and read a few paragraphs. Yan, very interesting readings. Binigay ko sa inyo. And actually, ang daming readings na gusto kong ibigay sa inyo. Pero syempre, I could not do that, no, na paulanan ko kayo ng mga readings na hindi nyo rin mababasa, no. Pero, ano, magbibigay ako ng mga readings na along the way, no. And may mga philosophical, ano pa, readings pa. Okay? So, don't worry, you will enjoy this class, especially when you're going to present, no. Very interesting yung mga discussions. In other words, hindi kasi hindi kumbaga based on the discussion, doon tayo papasok paano natin pag-usapan yung everyone is a contributor in this class, no. Hindi yung ayokong ako lang ang sa akin ang galing lahat yung idea. Siyempre sa inyo din. I believe you have more ideas than me to share to the class. Especially that these are your own individual interests, yung mga topic nito. Kasi nandun ka you're part of it, kumbaga. You are a K-pop star, yun. Or maybe a mobile gaming addict, no. Then give us a glimpse of your world, no. E-sports, yan, very much popular yan today, no. Si Manny Pacquiao ay preparing for the elections, nag-campaign, nandun na sa Mobile Legends. Meron na siyang doon, hero, di ba? Tagalog na voice over. So, yan lang ang so, yun, what we see as popular culture, di natin na ma-notice na meron pala yung mga political, may mga it serves the interest of a few individuals. Yan lang, no? So, anything else na na concern nyo? So, Ah, anong ibig sabihin ng similarities? Nagpili ka na ba ng ano? Anong pinili mo, Bern? Ay, sports o ano ibig sabihin ng similarities? Tingnan natin. Ay, saan mo nakuha yung gaming industry? Rivera. Doon sa ano, sa baba pa, hindi yung sa unang lista, hindi yan yung unang ano, course outline of topics, hindi yan, ano lang yan siya. Doon sa sunod, yung suggested topics, doon ka pumili ng topics. Yan, basahin ko ha, Korean, K-pop, tapos TV and cinema, social media, Philippine music scene, sports, esports, uh, yung paano ba i-frame to, no? Basta popular culture na related sa entertainment, no, that has something to do with the body, like beauty pageants, bikini, um, bikini contest, no, magazines na mga about fashion, may mga even yung ano, pwedeng mo nga ipasok dito yung the dito sa number 7 na I think pinili ni ni ano, no, Joaquim. Pwedeng ipasok diyan yung ano yung UFC ngayon. Usong-uso yung mga UFC ngayon sina McGregor, no. Imagine Manny Pacquiao. You know Manny Pacquiao during uh, when election time is about to come, meron yang malalaking fights na magano sa kanya. But so we know that 2022 election is nearing, malapit na. It's almost near, no, the election campaign. So yan si Pacquiao want to have a fight with McGregor. And then even in Mobile Legend, nandiyan siya, no. Yan, so dito sa number 7, actually pwede yan yung ano yung may mga babaeng UFC fighters. So what is their role there? It changed the yung ano ba, how do we understand with ano gender sensitivity, yan yung babae pala ay pwede diyan sa UFC. But what is our understanding of the image of a woman, no? Then it's interesting also to look at yung mga lalaking ano fighters naman. I have another reading to that na I will share to ano to Joaquim. Oo, oo, pwede pero I will approve muna. Tingnan ko kung ano siya. Oo. Hindi naman. I would be glad to Okay. So, ito na yung balikin ko anong tawagin ko ulit yung attendance. Nicole Bernadette. Ay no, tama ba yung attendance ko nito? Nicole Bernadette, indiyan ba? Ano indiyan? Nadine Jo Marie Gian Maverick Nina Marie or Nina Marie. Wala. Anything else? I'll have my ano na, may share yung on next synchronous class natin. I will share yung 24/7 late capitalism and the ends of sleep. It's it's a new book actually. And maganda rin to look into that. So at final request no you no final request before we end this online meeting, can you turn on your camera webcam, because I'll take a quick screenshot for our attendance, for my attendance. This is for my attendance. No? Mabilis lang naman. Wait lang, paano ba ito para makuha lahat, no? Full screen. Saglit ha. Antay lang ha. Print screen. Maraming salamat sa inyo, no? So, see you again no next meeting for the for my report. Thank you so much for your time. Let us adjourn this online meeting. Please email if there are concerns. Oh, oh, thank you. Doon sa ka.